Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic and thoughtful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business and share them with us so we can learn as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everyone hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn, and the link to that will be in the show notes below. But on today's show, our special guest is Doug Pudney. He is the owner of a couple businesses, one which is the Outcomes Business Group. The other one is Capital Bridge Studio. And his third one, which is launching at the beginning of next year, is My Coach in a Box. But overall, he helps SME owners and advisors build clarity, traction, optionality, and enterprise value through a uniformed ecosystem of proprietary frameworks. So, Doug, thank you so much for being on the show. And I want to start off by asking you a question that I always love starting off with, which is if you were able to go back to the very first beginning of your very first business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down to speed up. It's a bit of a cliche these days, but the young Doug was high speed and he was risk adverse, and I should not have been as I should have been more risk adverse. I assumed all sorts of risk as a youngster, and I went far too fast. I should have had more time in planning.
Mm, mm. So when you say that, what are some tips around being able to slow down, but take more risk? Because a lot of times people think, well, yeah, you should just move fast, move fast, move fast. So what does that mean to you, and what are the lessons that you've learned from that?
Thanks, Jason. Interesting that. What I need, what I think we all need is for people to get the basics in place. Start at the very beginning. Start with your purpose. Your purpose, by that I mean beyond profitability, your honorable purpose. That's a very powerful weapon if you get it right for your business.
Mm,
Get that right and get it right in a way that you can bring it alive, almost evangelize it, because it's going to pull stakeholders and the team along with you. Then, your strategy may change, and it will change from time to time, but something that needs to be set in stone are your core values, and those help you with discovering the right strategy and taking decisions, and just people knowing that those are your core values, because they'll understand why you're taking certain decisions, and they won't be knocking on your door to ask you questions. They can think of your values. So, mention your values if you're hiring, firing, praising, admonishing, disciplining someone. Refer to your values, and they'll become a powerful extra system in your business. Another thing to get right is understanding exactly what your clients need, your prospects need, and understand what your strengths are so that you can differentiate yourself. And then take those strengths, take the their needs, take your purpose, and take your values. And at the intersection of those four things, you're going to find the secret sauce to revenue, and that is your brand promise. Now, brand promise to me means precisely what it says on the tin. It's the experience that you're promising your prospects and your customers through every single engagement with your business. So if they can just feel that it's going to be a good experience, you've got more chance of making hay while the sun's shining.
yeah, I love that. One of the things that you just said right at the very end, and I'd love to get your perspective on this, is if they feel they're going to have a good experience. And I think a lot of times, no matter whether people are, extremely advanced in their business, they've been running businesses for years or whatever, I think that we can miss that. And we just try to push what we do as opposed to understand how the prospect feels in that process. And or do they feel like they're being taken care of, or do they feel like they're just being sold to? So, what are some things that you've found that helps your prospects to be able to feel that they will actually benefit from you, that you care about them, as opposed to just being sold to?
Uh, Jason, number one, every business only exists because it's there to solve other people's issues, challenges, or problems as such.
Yeah.
So it's understanding their needs, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. Um, that's critical. But that's also, I think Aristotle could have been a great psychologist and maybe a marketeer, because about 2,500 years ago, he shared his rhetoric with us, his triangle. And that's all about ethos and pathos. But I won't give you the Greek version. I'll say that the psychology behind every buying decision is down to trust, emotion, and logic. Now, trust is probably about 80% of the equation, and emotion about 15%,
Mm,
and and logic is probably as little or less than 5%. And we don't go and try and build enough trust. We will jump onto the client and try and squeeze them, or jump onto the prospect and close them too early. We've got to make sure that by the time we're in conversation with people, that they trust us already, that they realize, hey, this guy Jason, he's got me. He understands my problem. He even understands how I'm feeling. So Jason has written about or mentioned or communicated the negative emotions, and better still, the positive emotions if they had a Jason in their lives. So people, you're a great proponent and expert in LinkedIn. People have no, too many people have no or not enough emotion on their profile.
mm,
People need to mention emotion there. The other thing that, by the way, if we're just talking LinkedIn for one quick moment, and I know this is your area of expertise, but I talk about red ink and blue ink on LinkedIn. And to me, red ink is I, we, our, us. And we need to think with them. What's in it for me, as if we were in the shoes of our prospects. And we talk about you and yours, and
yeah.
how, so they really get it that, hey, Jason gets me. This is the guy I need to talk to. He knows how I want to feel. And that
Mm.
starts good conversations, doesn't it? But then I'm speaking to the consummate expert, Jason.
Well, it sounds like you listened to some of my training. I don't know if you have or not, but that's exactly what I say. Almost word for word is that we have to make if we're talking about LinkedIn, and it applies to pretty much everything we do in our business, but we have to make it about the prospect, not about us, you know? And when we just talk about, oh, I've done this and we've done that, you put your prospect at arm's length. We're not actually drawing them in. Because if they can feel that they're going to be understood and cared for, then they begin to open up because they don't feel like you're just trying to take something from them. And I think a good business positions things in a way where it's not a take, there's obviously an exchange of value. You provide something, they exchange that with monetary exchange. There's an equal value exchange, where I think you just spot on. I love it. It's like, yes, keep going, Doug. That's amazing. Well, if you look at the course of your business, and I know you've got multiple things you've done, but what's the number one biggest challenge that you've faced in your business so far, and what was the lesson that you learned from that?
I'm going to say the biggest challenge is the one I'm facing now. And I don't quite have all the answers yet, but we're launching at the end of Q1, my coach in a box. And I enjoyed reading your post this past week on Apple and the way they design in reverse. And that's precisely what we've been trying to do. We saw that there was a that there was a need for an AI platform going forward for SME owners. And
Mm,
this really it reverberated with me when I saw this your article, and I just looked back and I had a quite 10-minute moment thinking, you know, we thought what frustrates business owners now, and that's patchy cash flow, and I don't have the team that I really need, and I don't have my go-to market, there's something wrong. My route to the market is skew and it's just not working for me. And I'm not confident about my strategy, these aren't random issues. They've shown up in businesses that we've been coaching for decades now.
Yeah.
And we sat back and we thought, what's the perfect scenario? What does life look like on the flip side? What do they want? And SME owners, they need certainty in their lives. That risk is dissipating, that the business that buyers will be out there one day uh, wanting to purchase their business and purchase the certainty that profits will carry on, that there is a leadership team without the owner, that the business is independent of the owner. And the other thing that business owners need and want is optionality. And to me, optionality means that you've got multiple choices. You've got multiple paths that you can follow. You can sell, you can scale, you can just grow if you don't want to scale it, in biblical proportions. You can stay smart and stay as you are now,
Mm.
but you can just make easy decisions and they'll all feel good because you've got your business into peak condition. And
Yeah.
and our I've used that understanding to make sure that what we're delivering uh, is really the optimal guide to the land of optionality for new business owners so that they've got the clarity, the structure, the
Mm.
discipline, um, and also that they don't have, um, you know, often have to rely on the coach's bandwidth or their advisor's calendar mixing up with theirs, and at least they can now use the platform to work at their own time, and
Mm.
that's probably the lesson. And it was your post probably 2 3 days, maybe Monday, you wrote about how Apple design product, and
Yeah.
I thought back, wow, that's how Bridget and I put my coach in a box together.
Yeah. That's
So thank
amazing.
you.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that's great, man. It's great hearing that story and journey as well. So,
Yeah.
well, I just looked down. I was like, oh my gosh, we're coming up to time already. So, Doug, for people that are wanting to find out a little bit more about what you do, what's the best place for them to get in touch with you?
Jason, probably the way we chat on LinkedIn. So, um, my naughty name is Douglas. When I'm in trouble with Bridget, she calls me Douglas. Otherwise, I'm known as Doug. But on LinkedIn, I'm Douglas Pudney. And yeah, I'm always happy to chat to people. Feel free to reach out and chat.
Amazing. Well, I definitely recommend everyone reach out to Doug on LinkedIn if you're wanting to learn more about what he does and how he can potentially help you as well. So, Doug, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your pearls of wisdom. And as a reminder to everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. And the link to that will be in the show notes below. And until next episode, stay inspired.